so we had some challenges with the bathroom, and even though we're not finished with it yet, I would like Sonder to talk about the curved shower, because that was probably one of the more complex things that we actually had done here. And I don't know whose bright idea it was to do a curved shower.
The way this bathroom is laid out with this utility closet and shower here creates this like conflict.
What if the shower actually curves like this? So it's like a curve. It doesn't.
Yeah, it could be a more open shower.
Yeah,
That's a good,
there's nothing
better
to say
idea.
that it has to be box.
Yeah.
If it curves in, and then it actually brings you into the loop. You know.
Yeah,
it
you're
makes
right.
you want to go to the bathroom.
Well, after some matcha tea, I think
The bathroom is designed so well, it just makes you want to go to the bathroom.
I love that idea, Summer. That's cool.
If you're ever gonna do a shower, make sure you're not curving it.
Well,
It's significantly more difficult.
I have to say it may have been worth it.
It's definitely worth it. It was the only way it was gonna happen. Because like, imagine if it was square, right? Imagine if it were to continue this way and come out this way. I mean, the amount of times you would hit your toes against the edge here, I mean, it would be a nightmare.
And it's a big bathroom too.
It's a big bathroom, but imagine you're going to the toilet and you're coming back, you're gonna hit this corner. It's gonna be really annoying if it sticks out.
Yeah.
And then alternatively, you could make the shower pan less deep, right? So you could come in here and just cut it short. You go across, which could have done that, but
Well, actually,
it wouldn't have been as nice.
talk us through the process of the curved shower, because it was a huge learning curve for us, and you also had a little snafu along the way. So I'd love for you to talk about that.
So we wanted the shower to be like 5x3, so you have a lot of space, and we want to have a window in there so you have a lot of natural light. Obviously, we're gonna have some like privacy screen here, but the light will come through. And yeah, this is obviously the first shower I've ever constructed, because I'm just starting to learn about all this. And the only reason why I felt confident experimenting with this is because we're not like on a second floor. It's not like we have a wood subfloor that, you know, if this shower were to leak at one point in the future because of a beginner mistake that I might have made, it's not such a big deal, because underneath this is just concrete, and the water will just kind of seep into the concrete and just kind of evaporate out over time. So it's not that big of a deal if the shower fails. That's the only reason why I felt comfortable like approaching this project. But given that, I think it's constructed properly. So I did everything that I think I could to construct it properly. So I guess the first thing was demolition of the old shower.
Alarm goes off at 4:45. Roll out of bed, rub the sleep from my eyes. Throw on a shirt and some jeans and my boots, and then it's time to make that morning drive. Work all day till I'm totally beat. Get back home and fall right to sleep. Alarm goes off in the morning and the cycle's complete. Work, sleep, repeat. Yeah, work, sleep, that's all I ever do anymore. Work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. Somewhere up the line I forgot what I was working for. Yeah, there goes life, looks like it ain't slowing down for me. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat.
So first we just took out, the old shower, which was kind of like this square. It went from here to there, and then the entrance was over here. So we did that, and then the next part was actually building this curb. So this curb right here, we actually made out of concrete. So what we did is we made a form right here, and then used plexiglass to create this curve right here. And then we basically like drilled into the concrete like spacers and holders to make sure that the form wouldn't like expand. And then we just poured concrete in it, So I think I worked on that with Walt, one of the contractors here, for a day. Maybe like, yeah, it probably took us a day to kind of just like make the forms and then pour it. And then when I was done, I looked at this from the door and I, like my guts almost sunk through. Like, I just realized that it wasn't in the right place.
Because the window is supposed to be in the middle, and like,
Yeah,
it was
so the
all...
window wasn't there yet, but I kind of roughly knew where it went. And we were so busy making the forms that I forgot that there needed to be a 6 to 7 inch extension towards this, which would make sure that the curb would end up like past the window. And where we had it was that the curb would like terminate right here.
in the middle of the window.
Kind of in the middle of the window.
Yeah.
And the window is placed center of that door that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that all this concrete was poured and it wasn't in the right place. So I really couldn't sleep that night. And what I ended up doing is like, I just got so much energy that I wanted to do this the right way that I took it all up. I took all the concrete out in the middle of the night. We made this whole mold today and poured the concrete. And then I get back to my computer and I look at the designs and the drawings. And I'm like, oh no, I forgot to include 7 inches. I forgot to add 7 inches of length to this wall. You can see it right here, what I added. And then I also discovered when coming back that the curb here was 1/2 inch too close to that wall, which would make your shower kind of narrow. So right now the shower is 3 foot by 3 foot, and then minus, so you'll have that amount of space, but minus the hardy backer that's gonna go on there, which is 1/2 inch. So you'll lose about 1 inch. So the total shower will be 35. Now then here, I just had this too short. So what happens is there's a wall here at 30 inches, and then there's like 7 more inches to this way. And what's great about that design is that you could see that that window is gonna go right there. And what will happen is that the inside of that curb right there is gonna line up with the inside of the drywall that's going on the inside of the window. So the drywall that's gonna go on the inside here. And then if you step back and you look at the door, you could see that the door, it's basically gonna be in alignment with the door as you come in. Like, the window is gonna be exactly in the center of the door. Now before, the curb was over here, so that window would also go over there, making it line up like around the corner here, which I just couldn't live with. So I was looking at it, I was like, I could just do it right now. It was still sort of easy to take out, and I just scooped all the concrete out, and luckily, because the forms were already made, all I had to do is just extend it and move it 6 to 7 inches to this place right here, and that way I was able to, make new concrete, pour it. And actually doing that, it taught me a lot, because we were going through these steps of how to make this during the day, but then at the end of the day, I kind of got to redo it, and it kind of cemented the knowledge into me, and knowing, I know how to do this a lot better now, and doing it a second time, it turned out a lot better, I think. Yeah. Because
so you're saying it's worth it to actually do multiple curved showers. If
you're doing this for the first time, that just happened to be, I couldn't live with this thing being in the wrong place. I just had to redo it. So I'm glad I did, and we put a slight slope on this. So what we did is, with the form, on the inside it would be a little shorter, the outside would be a little taller, and then we come over it with a trowel. You rest the trowel on both sides of the form, and you curve it across, so then there's like a slight curve towards the shower, so that if ever water hits this, it will want to go...
Yeah, we'll want to go to the drain.
To the drain, eventually. Yeah. So after we built the curb, then the focus was to the inside of the shower pan. And there's a million videos on this, on how to do this on YouTube. You basically get like a drier form of cement, which is called dry pack or dry mud, and you get, it's like a sand castle basically. You can kind of play with sand, and it, you know, if you could shape it in the right pitch that you want, and then it will dry and it will be concrete. It will be super hard. So that's what I did here, and the whole key to like getting a good slope on your shower is to use the screeding method. So you have one edge that is higher and the other edge is like the drain, and then you use a stick to kind of like go back and forth to like make sure that the cement is like flat and it goes at an angle towards the drain. So I did that and it turned out well. And then the challenging part of doing that was that it's obviously easy to do that with a square shower pan. It was harder to do it when there's a curve. So I'm basically imagining drawing a line from every outside corner towards the drain that needs to be sloped. So I had a stick running across the wall that I could lean something on and then screed it. And then here in the curve, I kind of like just screeded it by hand and just made sure with the level to check once in a while if it actually had slope. So basically what I did is I did like a base layer. So that's like, it's like the foundation of it. And then on top of that, we coated the whole shower in this product called Red Guard, which is basically a waterproofing layer. So if any water, because concrete's porous, if any water gets through your Tadalact or through your topping, micro topping here, it will reach that layer and it will go towards the drain. So that's on there as a protection. And again, if the water would make it past the Red Guard layer, then that's fine too, because it's just concrete underneath, but it should be very minimal moisture at that point. And then in the corners, you want to make sure that the Red Guard doesn't crack. So we had this kind of felt fabric that we used to just toughen up the corners. You lay the fabric in the corner, and it's kind of like drywall tape, or what you use on the cement board. It's the fiberglass mesh to be able to make sure that whatever you're using, that it kind of sticks to that and it kind of holds it. After that, we put one more layer of concrete on top, which is kind of like the finished slope. And the finished slope's like a 3/4 or 2 inch thick. And then after that, like once that was dry, I used a little bit of thin set here and there to like level some low spots out, make sure that, like in this area specifically, like there were some areas where it had a little dip. You know, it would be like level here, but then here there would be slope. So I used the little thin set to build this up. And then it was time for the micro cement topping. So this is just basically, if you mix up the cement, it's like a thin pancake mix that, you know, once you spread it on, you can spread it out with a trowel. And yeah, it's like literally pancake mix that you're spreading out over the floor. And that's what you see here. That's what the end result is.
Did you put grit in that, or did you put grit?
Yeah, so the whole process for that, well, first of all, I had to do that 3 times because the first one I mixed, it was way too dark. Then the second one I mixed was finished, but then we did all this like Tadalact, and we had contractors come in here and step on it, and then we spilled some, you know, wax on it, and it started to seep in because it wasn't
sealed.
It wasn't sealed yet. So we basically looked at this at the end, and we were like, this doesn't look good at all. Like, we have to do a 3rd layer. And I had just a little left to be able to do that. But yeah, so then we dialed in the color, and then we also sealed it this time. And the sealer is basically like an epoxy mat, like that you put on here. You roll it on with 2 layers. One thing I wish I knew was that I used a foam roller that was gray, and it kind of just left these tiny particles of, you could see them here, you know, just kind of little fluffies. And I wish I had a white roller that I used, because the color that we have here is a lighter color. So, but these are all the things that I learned from, you know, doing this. And the micro cement is kind of nice. It's like a really thin plaster that you can shape things with. So it's cool. You can get this kind of texture going here on the curb.
And we wanted the grit in it so that it wouldn't slide around in the
So
shower.
since this is a shower, what I did is they make this like thin sand, like this little dust that once you put your finish layers on, you kind of sprinkle that dust into the epoxy, and then you roll it in, and that gives it kind of a sandpapery feel to it, so that when it gets wet, you're gonna just slip and fall in your ass. So yeah, I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you did a really good job. It was a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
We didn't know when we suggested it that it would be such a huge learning curve, but we're really happy that it came through to fruition.
It's a lot of work. Like, would it have been cheaper to hire someone to do this? Maybe, given the amount of time that I spent doing this. Would I have known this much about how to pour concrete, how to shape it, how to apply micro cement, how to, you know, mix it differently with different colors, and, you know, just basically getting a lot of practice in, because all these tasks are quite easy to do. Like, the instructions are quite easy. Just mix A and B together and then put it on there. But it's more about the actual experience and repetition of doing it and getting good at it that you get a good result with this stuff. So, you know, unless you're doing it a couple times, you don't really get to refine it as much. So yeah, given this, that we made a couple mistakes, I was able to redo some stuff. I was able to get a better result in the end by just having to do it more times.
And honestly, we've talked to a lot of contractors who've put in showers and tiles and everything, and they were very unfamiliar with the Tadillac or lime process, micro cement. They never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a very known product to use, and you know.
So it would have. My point is that it would have been a learning curve for everyone.
Yeah, but I'm sure you could find someone who can do it.
Yeah.
It's just not that familiar. Like, yeah, but most people, I guess, just do tile or something.
Or the pre-made shower pans.
Or a pre-made shower pan. And I think those things are definitely good options. Like in the other house we're renovating, I think we're definitely, like, one of the houses is definitely more geared towards, you know, using a because it's a rectangle, and might as well. Why would you go through the whole process? Mm-hmm. Especially if you're on like a wooden subfloor that has all kinds of, you know, risks of getting wet. I think a pre-cast shower pan, even if it's expensive, it's going to save you a lot of work. So yep, that's the shower pan. I'm really happy how it turned out, and I can't wait to, I have to see if it's watertight. Like, the next step is, like, I just put the finished coat on, and I have to see if it's water tight, if the water gets through the finish coat or not. Because the first time I applied the finish coat, I had these tiny little dots, because there was tiny little areas where the water was actually seeping through it, and it was making the micro cement wet underneath. So, you know, that dries, of course, but it would kind of look like these little splotches everywhere, which, I don't know, I just sanded it lightly, and I applied another 2 coats on it, so hopefully now it's good. So we'll have to test that. But yeah, again, if it fails, it should be fine. Plus, we got the floor heat to kind of evaporate all the
exactly.
moisture. So.
All right, well, we'll show you the rest of the bathroom when it's finished and the whole house is finished. We'll do a proper tour. Thank you, Sander. Thank you so much for your hard work and everything. We'll continue to share our progress on the Meadow House renovation in the coming months. In the meantime, if you enjoy our videos or find them helpful, give them a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell, as you'll be alerted next time we launch another episode. Now keep in mind that 10% of our Google AdSense revenue is being reinvested back into community-based projects in the Finger Lakes area, so your support matters. See you in the next episode.